rest of the show is dedicated to the camera that really got everybody's attention, and that is the Blackmagic Cinema camera. All right, and so to sort of whet your appetite, we have prepared this special clip. Our friends James McGlynn and Justin Blattner spent the entire last 2 weeks preparing this for you, so please enjoy Skater Vision. All right, welcome back. Special thank you to our buddies Justin Blattner and James McGlynn. Thank you for putting that together for us. We're going to talk about how to take this camera and get that video. Just a little bit later in the show, we'll be joined by Miss Nicole Martinez from Catalyst Media Training, who's going to go over the workflow. But before we do that, let's go over the camera, shall we? So you may still be waiting for your camera, and please accept our sincerest apologies. We have a very long list of very anxious customers who have put their deposit down and are waiting for the Blackmagic cameras. And to you, all we can say is, hang tight. They've sent us one. We totally expect them to send us the rest of our order. And you're in our prayers, you know, where every night we go to sleep and we say, come on, Blackmagic. Send us some more of those cameras. These people want them so bad. Anyway, we got one, all right? So let's do what we can with it. You'll notice I've got my Zeiss Compact Prime, all right? That's a CP2. The only reason I've got my Zeiss Compact Prime on here is because I've got the EF mount CP2s from Zeiss. If I had a PL mount, I'd be out of luck, because even though the EF cameras are slow to deliver, the Micro Four Thirds cameras are even slower to deliver. Blackmagic has promised December delivery. We don't know if that's 2012 or 2013, but again, we're working on it, guys. We're working on it. Okay. Check out this first slide. There you go. There are two versions of the camera. The EF, which will take Zeiss EF and ZE mount lenses with electronic connection, so you're getting all your feedback from the lenses. The other device that's coming out from Blackmagic will be the Micro Four Thirds inch camera, which is for some reason much easier to adapt to PL mount lenses. So those are coming. Those are coming. December. 1 year. Who knows? All right. Let's take a look at the side of the camera here. All of the connections of the camera are in fact on the side. Okay. One thing that you'll notice is HD SDI. Fantastic, right? You might think to yourself, broadcast connection, excellent. But I've got to stop you there. Before you go buying 12 of these to put them into a multi-camera production, I want to caution you, make sure your multi-camera production will be progressive, because there is no 1080-60i out. All right? Let's get this neck strap out of the way. By the way, the camera ships with this lovely neck strap and also this hood. It does not ship with the lens, so call us up. We'll get you your EF lenses, or use your existing EF lenses. That's a great motivator to buy EF mount cameras. All right, one thing that it has over the DSLRs is this right here. You see that headphone sign? That's because behind that little rubber door is a headphone jack. So you can actually monitor audio. You are recording PCM audio, 16-bit, 48 kilohertz. So you're recording proper audio. There's a built-in microphone with 2 channels and 2 audio inputs right here. Check this out. Yeah, Blackmagic. There we go. 2 audio inputs. What are those? I haven't seen those on a camera before. I'm so used to XLR inputs. Well, these are 1/4 inch inputs. They are balanced, but if you're anything like me and your microphones have XLR outputs, you'll need one of these. Balanced 1/4 inch in, XLR female. Don't worry, they do plug right into the slot. Okay? I am going to send my request to our buddies at Blackmagic to next time use the proper XLR connection, because look at that. You know, you don't want to have to. Point being, don't worry, you can still get your microphone input in. Built-in microphone with 2 channels, an additional 2 channels right here, analog audio input, TRS, tip ring sleeve, balanced 1/4 inch. All right, let's go to a slide here. Oh, you know what? Before we do this slide, let's go to Debbie with a question coming in from the internet.
Okay, we have Rafael Puentes from Bogota, Colombia, asking why the Blackmagic camera doesn't use a full-frame sensor.
All right. Thank you, Rafael. We really appreciate you watching the show. Thank you for using the chat room and sending in your question. Question is, why not use a full-frame camera? First, you should know, the sensor on this camera is slightly smaller than the Micro Four Thirds camera. Okay? The Micro Four Thirds sensors are a little bit more square. This is a little bit more rectangular, so it's actually closer to the 1.78 aspect ratio. The reason that they didn't use a full-frame sensor, and I can only really hazard a guess here, is they wanted to make the camera $3,000 so that you could buy it inexpensively. Possibly the same reason for the XLR connection being a 1/4 inch connection. They're doing everything they can to make the camera affordable. All right, let's go back to the slide here to help us get a little bit more information. So we've got a remote input jack, 3.5mm headphone jack alluded to earlier, double 1/4 inch balanced audio input, 10-bit HD SDI output. So another advantage over some of the smaller, the 1/3 inch cameras, the HXR series, some of the Panasonic cameras that are only pushing out 8 bits. If you want to shoot in 10-bit, here you are. Power supply, that's a source of frustration for some of our friends also. There's an internal battery. You can plug the camera in to work from a power supply from the wall. Luckily, our buddies at Swittronics, all right, and potentially some other folks out there also, are using that power supply jack to adapt to both gold mount and V mount professional style batteries. So fear not, just because Blackmagic gave us a captive rechargeable battery that needs to be plugged into the wall, our friends who make third-party accessories are responding to the charge. They're accepting the challenge and giving you guys some external batteries. All right, let's take another look at the slide here. 3/4 inch mounting threads on top of the camera, right? Because you've got to put your wireless microphone adapters, you've got to put your camera top light, although that's not really appropriate for this camera. But anyway, you got to plug stuff in here. Maybe you want to put yourself a nice viewfinder monitor on here. 3/4 inch female threaded holes, and if your mounting accessories are only 3/8 inch, fear not. We've got some friends from England, Genis, that will come in with a 1/4 20 male and give you a 3/8 inch female. We'll make all those adapters for you. That's no problem. All right, let's talk a little bit about the screen. Yeah, in fact, Verge, do you have this screen as an input? Yes. Okay. So the color looks a little washed out. Do not adjust your television set. We are shooting 2.5K RAW. All right. So pardon me, audience. I just gotta use this for a little second. One cool thing about the HD SDI output, even though it's not 1080/60i, it does give you a sort of viewfinder output where we can get the menu up on the screen. Haha, we cannot. Okay. All right. It's still very new to us here. But you can see a couple of things. On the top left-hand corner, you can see your frame rate is 2997 progressive. Next to that is your shutter angle, right? It's 180 degrees. Let's flip through some of these shutter angles. You can go all the way to 45 degrees on the low end. Stepping through, you got a 90. You got a couple odd ones at 108, 144, and the all-important 180 degrees shutter angle, all right? So the touch screen is pretty easy to change your shutter angle and this kind of thing. Additionally, the touch screen allows you to change your white balance pretty easily. I'm at 3200 right now because my studio is all tungsten, but if I was outside in daylight, 4500. You see on the top right of your screen, you'll see my white balance number adjusting. You've got a full range up to about, there you go, up to 7500K. You can additionally change your ASA, or in video mode, we call that gain, right? So we can bring that up to, I think, a 16,000 ASA reading. Yeah, there we go. 1600, excuse me. So that's increasing the amount of light coming in at the sacrifice of a little bit of gain. There are a couple other cool features that you can change on your touch screen, including your frame rate, your dynamic range, and your recording format. The camera gives you the option to record 2.5K RAW, and that'll be right to your solid-state memory drive, or DNX HD from Avid, ProRes from Apple, okay? Your DNX HD, it's not an MXF file. It's actually a QuickTime.mov that muxes your audio and your video together, which is kind of nice. You don't have to deal with all those separate files. ProRes, obviously ProRes video audio together. You know all that kind of stuff. One thing you can't do in the ProRes world is proxy and LT, right? You're only doing ProRes. I'm not even certain if you can do HQ and non-HQ, just plain 422, because all it lets me switch through is DNX HD and ProRes. I don't have any further control. Not certain if, come again? HD, HQ. So we're at ProRes HQ. All right, let's let some slides do some work for us here. Here we are, recording formats, right? On the removable 2.5 solid state drive, and let me recommend using OWC's Extreme Mercury Pro Series 6. Buy the most expensive solid state drive you can get here. Don't skimp on your drive, because then you're going to end up saying, how come I dropped frames? The answer is you didn't get the right drive. Call us up. I've got the model numbers that you'll need to know for your solid state drives. All right, on the removable solid state drive, you can record in 2.5K resolution in the Cinema DNG codec. All right, you can record that at 2398, straight 24, straight 25, 2997p, and I think you can record 30p, but I'm not certain about that. This is an uncompressed 12-bit codec, DNG, all right? 12-bit, 2.5K, pretty damn serious. This is a lot of bit rate. This is a lot of dynamic range. This is a lot of data. We're going to talk about what to do with this data, but a word of caution, this is not to replace your DSLR everyday kind of shooting. You're not going to take this and shoot a reality television show and turn it around real quickly. You're not going to shoot 2.5K raw Cinema DNG 12-bit stuff for the quick pickup shot. This is not a run and gun camera. This is a camera for somebody who is committing to who's committing to a bit of post-production. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that a little later. Let's bring up that slide again, please, there, Verge. All right, to an external recorder, take your HD SDI output, no problem. Go to your Pix 240s, go to your KeyPros, and you've got a 10-bit uncompressed HD SDI feed. So you can, if you're on a nano flash, you can go up to 280 megabits per second. You've got, Cinedecks and codecs and all kinds of stuff that want to record all that data for you. Additionally, using the Thunderbolt connection, which is all the way at the bottom of the camera, you can connect to a Thunderbolt-enabled laptop and use Blackmagic's recorder, the Media Express, which is a free program. Media Express, connect with your Thunderbolt cable, and you can record very high data rate stuff. In the same vein as free programs, in the same vein as caution, you're going to have to do some post-production. Included with the camera, as everybody knows, is a license of DaVinci Resolve. Why DaVinci Resolve? Well, when you're shooting that 2.5K raw Cinema DNG codec, you are going to have to do some grading. It's not about shooting and releasing the footage right away. It's about shooting raw to get the most data out of it, and then using a piece of software like DaVinci Resolve to pull the color creatively out of what you wanted. It's about taking reality and creating cinema. Yeah, this is not cinema verite. This is going to take a little bit of color correction. Let's cut away from that slide for a second. At this point, it's good to mention Midtown Video is going to offer DaVinci Resolve courses. Mr. Alan Tepper, who you may know from Techno Tour, is going to be our instructor. So with every camera that you purchase, make sure to sign up for a DaVinci Resolve coloring course, because trust me, you don't want to be handing off raw footage to your client at the end of the day. All right? Is that it? Is that it in the slide area? Yeah, it comes with ultra scope, so you can get your whatever vector scopes and waveform monitors. Make sure you're broadcast legal and all this kind of stuff. Media Express for recording, DaVinci Resolve for color correction, and all of that software is included at the $29.95 price. All right, so we've talked about shooting raw versus turning in raw footage versus having something colored, and so really the cool thing to do is to see some footage that we have. So what you're looking at now is a side-by-side. Our buddies Justin and James were kind enough to go into Wynwood for us and do a little bit of shooting. We're going to talk about these a little more in depth. For now, I'm just going to let the gravity of the clips strike you. All right. So behind me, you've got the raw footage, right? There's a lot of data in there. There's all kinds of blues. There's all kinds of reds. There's all kinds of yellows. And so if you handed that off to your client, they'd say, what is this? This looks terrible. But if instead you went into DaVinci Resolve and you turned on the noise reduction and you did some grading and you pulled out the blues and you highlighted the yellows, then you end up with something that's sort of looking a little better on this side. All right, let's go to the next slide, please. All right, so here's clip 2, slide 1. On the side of your screen over here, you'll see the raw footage. There it is, raw 12-bit 2K. All right? There's the sky, and you can see the sky, and that's okay. And here's the building, and you can see the building, and that's okay. But again, this is not about cinema verite. This is about creating a look. Look at it graded over here. Do you see the variation in the sky? You can tell that it's, you know, dusk. You've got your moon up here. So let me step out of this. Yeah, there we are. There we are. You see the difference between the graded and the raw. Okay? And let's see slide 2, please, from clip 2. All right. On the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the raw footage. Now, this was actually a mistake. We shot this at the wrong color temperature. So in DaVinci Resolve, we were able to take this and turn it into this. Now it looks like something that you can actually use. You see the teddy bear sort of now has definition from the color in the wall behind it, and of course the car that is white looks white instead of yellow. This is the kind of stuff you want to do with your DaVinci Resolve. It's not just about making artistic representations, but it's also about correcting images. All right, let's go to clip 3, please. Let's watch it all the way through. In the center, you've got the raw, and here's a great example of what you can do artistically with something. The raw stuff is in the center there, and on the left-hand side, it's morning. You know, the sun is just rising. On the right-hand side, it's dusk. The sun is just setting. It's all the same footage. Okay, here what you want to look specifically at is the buildings on the horizon. Okay, I'll sort of let that sink in. On the right-hand side, it's all hazy in the sky. On the left-hand side, there are those buildings that you saw with your eyeball, but not with the raw footage. You feel me there? So we're really pulling out detail. We're really sort of adding gradient to the sky and making something nicer to look at from the raw footage. All right, let's go to the first still. Here we are. You got your raw stuff in the middle, and that's got all the data you need. You don't want to throw away any of the data because you might make an artistic decision on the left-hand side to make it look more like morning, or as we're looking on the right-hand side to make it more like evening. So both of those two graded images on the outsides come right from the raw image in the center. All right? From all of us here at Midtown Video and the Dot Studio and the Dot Video Show, this has been your host, Jesse Miller, saying, totally awesome.